Well, we are in the 11th number question. Let's look at the 11th number question. What does it ask? It asks, how did the historian Reinhard Kolzig's personal experiences influence his approach to history writing? So, so the question asks about how the historian Reinhard Kosleg's personal experiences affected his approach to history writing. Let's break down the options and see that means how and which of the option means will be appropriate to answer this question. So look at the first option. So the first option points out his experiences as a Hitler youth influenced his writing approach. So if you observe that Reinhard Kolsek's idea, where we found out, now we can find out in the means second last of the paragraph where it is stated that in his essay about the German historian Reinhard Kolsek's Stephen Ludwig Hoffmann writes dismantling the concept of history and coming up with a new theory of how history actually unfolds. Right? So chaotic, contingent, messy, and ferocious, yet with discernible patterns, was therefore the most important task for historians. Koslitz had been trained as a Hitler youth sent by the Nazis to the Eastern Front and survived Stalin's Gulag, emerging as a pivotal thinker of the post-war era. Okay, so means as far as if you observe also last paragraph where it is stated, Koslik argued for an open-ended discourse between the objective and the subjective, right? The professional historian who reconstructs history impartially can claim the domain of objective truth. So, on the basis of the second last paragraph and the last paragraph, um, we could get the idea that the option one, which is pointing here his experience as a Hitler youth influenced his writing approach, um, this option is not the correct one because the passage mentions his experiences but does not attribute his writing approach solely to the factor, right? So, as per the penultimate paragraph and the last paragraph pointing. So, therefore, option one cannot be the answer. Look at the option two. Option two stated his time on the Eastern Front and in Stalin's uh, Gulag led him to emphasize the importance of moral witness accounts. Now, again, if you look into the um, last paragraph and the penultimate paragraph. So, where in the penultimate paragraph, where it is stated about to the Eastern Front and survivors, Stalin Gulag emerging as a pivotal thinker of the post-war era. So, the option two proposes that his time on the Eastern Front and in Stalin's Gulag led him to emphasize the importance of moral witness account. This option is also incorrect because the passage does not directly state that his experiences caused this emphasis. So therefore, means we could also consider option 2 cannot be the answer. Look at the option 3. Option 3 states here his experiences during World War II inspired him to focus on diaries and first person documentation. So this option means claims that his experiences during the World War II inspired him to focus on diaries and first person documentation. So this option is also not explicitly supported by the passage as it doesn't directly attribute his focus, right? Attribute his focus on diaries to his personal experiences, right? So look at the option 4. What does option 4 point out? His personal experiences had no importance or no significant impact on his approach to history writing. So, if you look into the option 4, this option is the most conservative interpretation based on the passage. While the passage mentions his personal experiences, it doesn't elaborate actually on how these experiences directly influenced his writing approach. Considering the lack of specific information in the passage about the direct influence of Kosellec's personal experience on his writing approach, will be considered, that option 4 will be the correct one. Whereas option 1, 2, 3 are incorrect as per the means ideas provided. So, like I want to point out again, option 1 is incorrect because the passage mentioned that Koslek had been trained as a Hitler's youth, but it does not specify that this was the sole or main cause that influenced his writing approach. So, he has been compared with the Hitler. His writing approach was influenced by the collective post-war experience. So therefore, option 1 is incorrect. Option 2 is incorrect because the passage does not explicitly state that Koslek's experience led him to emphasize the importance of moral witness accounts. It does mention that he understood the need for a new form of history writing that reconciled objective and subjective element. Objective mm, and subjective elements, right? So, but it does not attribute this directly to his personal experiences. Even option 3 is not directly supported by the passage, while the passage discusses the importance of diaries and first person documentation in understanding the personal experiences of individuals during the war. It does not specify that Koslek's own experiences inspired this focus. So, option 4 is the most one's appropriate here, therefore, right? So, hence the correct answer is option 4. I hope you understood this. Let's move to the next question.